Welcome to Maz Koshia. Today we're going to do another tier list. This one is of all Breath of the Wild enemies. That includes bosses and mini-bosses. Basically, I created this template. I'm gonna leave a link to it in the description in case you want to use it as well. And there's over 50 enemies. I think it's 52 in total. Just a little disclaimer, some of the enemies I've grouped into one. So for example, the Bokoblins, I just have one Bokoblin. The Moblins, I just have one Moblin. Anyway, I'll talk more about that as I actually rank them. But I just wanted to let you know that some of them are grouped together because otherwise this would be huge.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
So let's get going. The tiers are excellent, which is, excellent. Have I misspelled excellent? Hold on.
One eternity later.
Okay, we're back. So I'm taking into consideration the design of the enemy, how enjoyable it is to actually battle the enemy, how I feel like it goes with the environment, how well it adapts to things, basically how enjoyable it is and how good I think it's been designed. And the tiers are excellent, good, mediocre, bad, and embarrassing. At first we have the Bokoblins. So this is one of the categories that I've grouped into one because I don't think they're different enough amongst themselves to justify me having every single type of Bokoblin here. There are differences, obviously. The higher the tier goes, the smarter they are. But overall, the Bokoblin is a Bokoblin, and I think they're excellent. Possibly my favorite enemy of the game in terms of design. I just love them. They're adorable. They're just very lovable. This, I don't know if you can tell, but this is Calamity Ganon. Calamity Ganon, we have to be honest here. Mediocre. I almost went for bad, but I don't think it's bad per se. It's a good battle, but it's very easy to be overpowered for it. So I think for all the build-up that this game allows you to do, considering it's open world, the final boss should be more challenging. Next we have the Chu Chu, the normal water Chu Chu, which I've grouped into one as well because it comes in 3 different sizes, I believe. And the Chu Chu, what is the Chu Chu? I'm gonna go with bad. I don't hate the Chu Chu.
A few moments later.
You know what? I've changed my mind. I haven't decided this before recording, so that's why I'm a little I'm doing this on the spot. I'm actually gonna put the Chu Chus on good. And here's why I changed my mind. I'm gonna put all of them at good. The reason why I'm putting them all at good is because just rethinking this, they're not the greatest as far as design goes, as far as battling them. You just boink them over the head with a tree branch and you're done. But the fact that they have different elements and the fact that you can actually collect the jellies and change the elements of the jellies if you use certain arrows, that's very clever design. This is something I could have grouped together as one as well. I just didn't for some reason, but there you go. Next we have the Stal Enemies. So Stal Bokoblin, Stal Moblin, and Stal Lizalfos all here. And I'm gonna put them at mediocre. I think it's a good idea, but it gets old really fast. If you're first playing Breath of the Wild and you don't know that it's coming, like when you're walking at night, it's very, very cool when it happens the first time. But after a while, it just gets boring. Okay, this one is Dark Beast Ganon, and Dark Beast Ganon is embarrassing. It's embarrassing. It's basically a cutscene. A glorified cutscene, if you will. It doesn't really count. I'm not saying that you can't die from it. I've never died from Dark Beast Ganon, but I have gotten damage. But still, it's so slow, and it's basically just shooting certain spots, and the intervals are so long between the spots you have to shoot. And yeah, I don't think anyone is a fan of this. Decayed Guardian. Ooh, Decayed Guardian. I think it's excellent. Now, I'm not saying that I particularly enjoy fighting any type of Guardians, but the Guardians are great. I'm actually going to rank all of the Guardians now. I'm going to skip the line ahead a little bit. Decayed and Stalker are excellent to me. I think they're so good. Just well designed. They're menacing. They challenge the player. I think they're amazing. This guy here, I forgot its name. Tourette? I'm gonna put a good because I don't think it's as good. It's basically a scaled up version of the Decayed one. This guy here, it's the one that's flying around and watching you. I'm gonna put a mediocre because I don't think it works that well, if that makes sense. It's a little clunky. It's clunky in itself, and it's clunky to battle as well. And then there's this guy here, which is, I forgot the name as well. The ones that you get at the Varudanya quest when you have your noble with you, and they come out, sentries. I don't like these, actually. I'm gonna put them at bad. I get the purpose of them, but I don't think they're realistic. I think realistically speaking, a Divine Beast would have a turret or a Decayed Guardian or something, or Watcher even. I think these are just annoying. And while we're on it, I'm actually gonna rank the Scouts. I'm actually gonna add all of them to the good tier, because I feel like they all serve their purposes. I like that they scale up. Well, not scale up, because they're the same no matter at what point of the game you are, but I like that there are different levels of difficulty. Okay, now that I've ruined the order of this, I'm gonna go back and actually keep going in the order that was originally decided by tier maker.
Why you always lying?
Electric keys. Electric keys. That's an issue here, because it's not that they're badly designed, it's that they're just so annoying. They're so annoying. So I'm gonna put them on bad. It just tests the patience of the player too much on areas where it shouldn't. I feel like keys in general are designed to be annoying. That's what they're designed for, and they serve that purpose quite well. But the electric ones I feel like are too much, honestly. I'm gonna skip the line again. I'm gonna do all keys.
And actually keep going in the order.
The fire one I'm gonna add to good, as well as the ice one. And then the normal keys I'm gonna put on mediocre, because it's just the keys. It's nothing special, mediocre. Okay, let's do Lizalfos next. I've given up on doing this in the order that is here. So if I see a Lizalfos, I'm gonna do all Lizalfos. If I see a Blight, I'm gonna do all Blights. Pretty much like this, because it just makes more sense in my head. So what I've done with the Lizalfos is I've done a normal Lizalfos, which is this one I believe. And then I have ice, fire, and electric. I feel like they're different enough to be here separately. So the normal Lizalfos, I'm gonna put at good. It's a good enemy. It's annoying, but it's good. I feel like it makes you a little bit more vigilant when you're fighting it, because a Bokoblin and a Moblin, you can kind of just go up to it and attack it. Lizalfos, they move around way more. They're faster. So I do think it's a good enemy. The electric one, I actually find excellent. Not to say I enjoy coming across electric Lizalfos, but I think the design is excellent. And I'm actually gonna put fire and ice in the excellent as well, because I feel like they're different enough that it makes things interesting. I love that you can one-shot fire and ice Lizalfos with the opposite elemental weapon. Okay, it's time for Blights. Fire Blight. I'm sorry, but Fire Blight is bad. He's just very clunky. He doesn't move around that much. And I feel like for such an epic arena like Varudanya, Fire Blight should be harder and it should move around more, I feel. Wind Blight, I'm gonna add to mediocre. Even though it's easier to beat than Fire Blight, I enjoy the Wind Blight battle way more. Regardless of whether it's the one in the meadow or if it's in the castle, I just enjoy it more. So mediocre, that's good enough for it, for Wind Blight. Water Blight, I'm gonna add to mediocre as well. Am I though? No, Water Blight's good. It's a good enemy. I feel like it's the only enemy that actually uses its surrounding, like raising the water and stuff. So yeah, that's better than Wind Blight for sure. Water Blight's better. And then Thunder Blight is excellent. Even though it's possibly the most frustrating battle in the game for most people, myself included, it's so good. Actually, if you think a lot before going into that battle, it's easy. Like for example, if you make a level 3 shock resistant elixir thing, you're basically immune to Thunder Blight in that battle. Like nothing it does other than like physical hits is actually going to affect you. Like you're not going to get shocked at all. And that makes it so much easier. But that's something that the game doesn't just feed to you. You have to think. Also the arena, I feel it can be a little frustrating but it's much cooler than the other ones. Wizzrobes. The reason why I only have one here, as opposed to having all the elemental ones as separate entries, is because I don't think they change enough. I think that the way that they've designed the elemental Lizalfos, the elemental Keys, even the elemental Chu Chus, are much more interesting and layered than the way they designed the elemental Wizzrobes. So I'm gonna put it on bad. I don't like them. Okay, Octoroks. I've also combined them all into one category because you have different Octoroks. You have the forest ones, you have the ones in the icy regions, you have the ones that are on the platforms in master mode. But I think it's fair to put them all in one chunk of category because they're not that different. They basically do the same thing. And Octoroks are mediocre. Nothing special about them, but they're not bad enough to be on the bad list. Next we have the Pebblits. So I have the ice Pebblit here, I have the normal Pebblit here, and I have the fire Pebblit here. I love the Pebblits, they're so cute. I'm gonna put them on good. Again, I'm contradicting myself by giving them different entries. Like the Wizzrobe has one and the Pebblits have different ones. But I think they're so cute, and that in itself makes them worth more than the Wizzrobe. And then let's do the actual Taluses. I think the Stone Talus is good. And that includes the rare one, the junior, whatever. I think they're very good enemies. I love the design. I love that there's different ways of fighting them. I just love them. The ice and fire ones, well, frost and igneous, but I'm calling it fire and ice because it's easier, I think are actually excellent. I think they're better. It doesn't mean that I like fighting them more than I like fighting a Stone Talus. I don't, because they're harder. But I think the design is better. I love that you have to either heat up or cool down the bodies to be able to climb them. Okay, Hinox. Or Hinox. How do you say it? I say Hinox. I'm gonna add them to mediocre. And that's not to say I don't like them. I like the Hinoxes, but I just don't think they're as good as some other mini-bosses. I think they're a little slow. I don't think that they scale up that well. It's basically just more HP and the weapons they have on them for you to take later. So mediocre. I don't think that they're that special. Lynel. Excellent. Lynels are excellent. Everyone remembers the first time they came across a Lynel. It's the type of memory that just doesn't go away. It doesn't go away because it's traumatizing. And I think one of my favorite things about Breath of the Wild was learning how to fight Lynels, going from being completely terrified to finally being able to beat one. The first one I beat was actually the Colosseum one on my first playthrough ever. And that was such an accomplishment. And then doing like all Lynel challenge runs and things like that. And it's just such a rewarding thing that this enemy provides. You can see yourself getting better by fighting Lynels over and over again, and I just love them. They're great. Master Kohga. Now this is tough because he's not designed to be a hard boss or a boss that you take seriously. But I still have to judge him as an enemy. So I'm gonna add him on the good tier because he's a character, you know? He's not just an enemy. He's a character with a personality and a story. And the fight is lame, but it's funny, and it does what it sets out to do. Also, I've just realized that these that I've put here, I said that they were the Stal Enemies. They're not. They're the cursed heads that float out of those malice things. The Stal Enemies are here. So I'm gonna keep them on mediocre because I feel the same way about them, but I'm just gonna move the actual Stal Enemies to the mediocre list as well, because that's what I was thinking of basically when I did these. Then we have Moblins. Moblins are good. Moblins are good. I don't think they're excellent, but they're good. It's a good level up from a Bokoblin, especially early game. It feels challenging enough, but it's not overwhelming. Like, I think a Lizalfos can be overwhelming sometimes, but yeah, it's good. Next we have Molduga. Well, Molduga and Molduking, and I think they go in actually very different spots. A Molduga, to me, is excellent. It's, to me, terrifying to see a Molduga for the first time, where you just kind of see the sand rumbling a little bit, and then that beast comes out. I think it's such a cool enemy. I think The different ways you have of killing it are amazing. I love it. The Moldu King, however, I think it's embarrassing. And I know it feels weird to put a Moldu King next to Dark Beast Ganon, but there's nothing special about the Moldu King. Like, I didn't feel like it was a special enough challenge. It was just, what, bigger and had more HP? It's not enough. You have to do better, Nintendo. Next we have Maz Koshia. Maz Koshia is excellent. Possibly the fight with the coolest soundtrack in the game. I think everyone would agree. And I think this fight actually challenges the player to think about everything they've learned in the game. They get to use runes, they get to use bows, champions' abilities, different types of weapons. The arena is super cool. Maz Koshia gets big, gets tiny, gets multiplied. It's just so cool. And there are little things that you can discover throughout, like the banana trick. If you throw a banana, it kind of distracts Maz Koshia and he goes to follow it, and it's just so good. It's just such a good fight. And very rewarding as well, as a final fight of a DLC. I really enjoyed it. Stalnox. Where am I putting the Stalnox? Bad. I'm sorry. I don't like them. I don't like them. I think it's annoying that you kind of have to follow the eye around, like chase the eye around and kill the eye. I find that it's not very practical to kill, and it's not something that I enjoy doing. If I see a Stalnox, I don't look forward to fighting it. Not because it's hard, but because it's tedious. Next we have Yiga clan, basically. We have the Blade Master, and we have the normal Yiga clan member. I'm actually gonna add the Blade Master to good, because I think they're good.
Well, duh.
I think they're like challenging. I think they look threatening. They pose a threat when you look at them. They drop good weapons, so I think they're good. The normal Yiga clan member, mediocre. I think it's a cool design, but I think it gets old fast. It's probably why I appreciate the Blade Master, because when you see a Blade Master, you're like, oh, okay, at least it's a fight. Whereas when you see a normal Yiga clan member, you're like, okay, that's a one-shot, basically. So, yeah. Okay, we did it. This is my list. I'm gonna be completely honest with you, I feel like this could look completely different if I did it on another day. I think it's a mood type of tier list. Let me know what you guys think about my tier list in the comments, and thanks for watching.